I get this question a lot. Hey, I'm 30 or I'm 40 or I'm 25 or I'm 50. How much money should I have saved? Am I financially fit? Look, I get it. You know, when we go to the gym or when we look on Instagram or when we look online to see where we should be at as far as our height and weight for our BMI metrics, there's a chart. But when we go to Google or when we go anywhere to search for where we should be at in life as far as our savings, our retirement, or how much money we should be making, there's no chart. In this video, I'm going to go over what I think in my 21 years of experience as somebody who's gone from rags to riches, what you should have in savings. Hi, my name is Sunny Singh. I've been in the lending industry for 21 years. In those 21 years, I have seen thousands of credit reports and different situations, different scenarios, all the way from, a person that just had a baby, the divorcing couple, the woman who just lost her husband due to COVID. So I've seen it all. There's nothing that can surprise me. 21 years, I've seen bankruptcies, divorces, foreclosures, house burned down, fires. I've seen it all. And during that time, I composed a lot of data, and it allowed me to be able to see a window into people's lives and spending habits. So for the next few minutes, we're going to be talking about where you should be according to me. Now, before you say, well, who the heck are you and why should we listen to you? You're not Dave Ramsey. You're not somebody famous. You're right. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was a guy who thought I had life figured out. Did everything that my parents told me to do. Went to school. I made good grades. I went to college. And, I set myself on a chart of a course to become a police officer. And, I was going to be like all my friends and make $100,000 a year and be living the American dream. I'd grow up to marry someone who also made $100,000 a year, and we'd have a combined income household of $200,000 a year, and we'd live in the prettiest of neighborhood of Pleasanton or Dublin, California. And we'd have 2 kids, a boy and a girl, and we'd also have a dog, and I would also coach t-ball. This is what my life vision was at like 23, right? 22. I'm like, this is what's going to happen. But after finishing up with college, criminal justice, I was just like, hey, I don't think working at Oakland Police Department is my future. There's nothing wrong with being a police officer, and there's nothing wrong to the brave if you're working at Oakland Police Department. I love those guys. I love those guys and gals. I have a lot of friends, a lot of clients. That's like a big account for me. But I started looking down it, and in my heart, I just realized this probably isn't for me. And that's a good thing, right? Can you imagine someone that doesn't have the heart to be a cop and they go out and try to be a cop and they try to be a wannabe cop and they're just not cut out for the business? So one of the guys in school with me says, hey, I want to go work in the financial industry as a loan officer. He was able to convince me to follow him. And I'm glad I did, because I found a career that I've been doing for 21 years and I'm still passionate about it today as I was back then. But again, life threw me a curveball. I wasn't making, $100,000 a year. I was starting out basically self-employed, and I didn't know if I was doing good. I didn't know if I was doing bad. So I relied on this old school way of thinking. And I didn't know it at the time. And it's called social comparison theory. Have you heard of it? Basically what it is humans, we will go and interact with other humans in our society, and we'll ask them where they're at, what their home looks like, what their group of friends look like, what their clothes look like, what they're earning, what they've saved. And depending on the circle that you've talked to, that's really going to limit you on what, or increase where you're going to be at in life. So this social comparison theory is actually kind of good because it can tell you like, hey, where you're at. But it's kind of bad too, because comparison is the thief of joy. So if you're watching this because you're feeling a little low on yourself and you're feeling like, hey, I don't know where I'm at. Let me find out where I need to be at. You're participating, not even knowing it, in social comparison theory. So let's get down to some facts. All right. I was a guy that went and got into the loan business. I got into it into the early 2000s, and I rode this incredible wave all the way until 2007. And if you recall, or if you're old enough to remember what happened in 07, 08, it was the great housing crash. I found myself making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 a year in my young 20s and spending it frivolously on high-end cars, houses that I didn't need, and entourages, paying for bar bills, club nights, and just being a buffoon with my money in my early young 20s. Well, I think it's the biggest blessing that ever happened to me, but in 07, 08, everything went bye-bye. All right, and this is where the story takes a turn. There was a year that I only made $9,800 total. I lost my home in foreclosure. The rules were still new. I had purchased my home with a first and a second mortgage, so I didn't even put anything down. And I was in lending. I went to an attorney, and at that time, because the rules were so new, the U.S. was still trying to figure out what they were going to do. The attorney was ill-advised and said, hey, you have a first and a second. Later, we found out that a second, if it was purchase money, meaning it came with the home, you could walk away from the home and be scot-free, start over. You wouldn't be scot-free. You'd be terrible roasted credit, but you could start over and not have anything haunt you. Well, my ill-advised attorney, who was basically all I could afford at the time, who was running like a lawyer mill, if you catch my drift, I was in line with they would open on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and you'd be in line with 30 other people to spend $900 to talk to them, to figure out if you're okay, just to file Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Yep, you heard it. So here I am, negative and overdrafted in my bank account, getting calls from them and nasty grams, nasty letters daily. I'm in collections on 2 credit cards. I have a foreclosure, means I don't have a home. And yes, I was homeless, living in my car under a bridge in a Safeway parking lot. At least I had a car, right? And I'd shower at a gym in the mornings. And so I was in the process of filing bankruptcy. There were so many bankruptcies that the attorney said, hey, this is normally a 4-month to 6-month process, but we'll see you in 9 to 10 months. And at that time, I was not even sleeping because the attorney said, hey, a creditor can come to your court hearing and say, hey, no, he owes us. I was driving, to get away from getting my car repoed. And I was still lying to my friends and family and saying, yeah, everything was okay. So do you want to stop listening and, switch to a different video now? I totally get it if you do, because why would you want to take, any advice from me? Here's why. What you don't know is afterwards, I did get some help from a friend and family. What you don't know that I'm going to share with you now is I started working 14, 15 hours a day. I created my own prison, became a workaholic, and I dug myself out of this hole. I started, being happy with making 60 grand a year. Remember, I was making 500 grand a year, and I slowly bubbled it to 150 and 300. Then, I started growing my income again to $1 million a year. So I don't say that to boast, but I share this with you because remember when I told you earlier that it was a blessing? I remember vividly people were committing suicide. Grown men were committing suicide during that time because they'd lost it all. They didn't know how to face their families. Well, here I am. I'm in my mid-20s. I faced my family. I faced the people I loved with shame on my face. I faced my friends, the friends I was boasting to that I had lost. I was going to them with hat in hand saying I'm sorry because I lost it all. Okay? And this time around, I don't want to lose it again. And this time around, my wife, married now, I have 2 babies. So shit got real. You know what I mean? With that being said, I'll cut to the chase. Here's all you need to know about your finances, no matter what age you are. Here's how you know if you're on the right path. I want you to take last 12 months bank statements. It'd be nice if it was a clean year like January to December, but just take the last 12 months bank statements. And I want you to take 4 to 5 different colors of highlighters. I want you to take one color and I want you to highlight every single one of them that was a food or beverage. So Starbucks, eating out, I want you to highlight it. I don't want you to highlight food like when you went shopping, like Costco, Safeway. I want you to highlight all your outside frivolous spending. I want you to take another color, like a brighter color, and I want you to highlight any bills you paid. Your car, your credit card, your student loans, your rent or your mortgage. I want you to take another color and I want you to, highlight anything that you spent that you needed to have, your want, right? So like that hobby that you have, that whatever it is, right? I want you to basically color categorize everything that you spent in the last year. And then I want you to add that up. Now, here's a helpful hint. There's a lot of sites and softwares out there that will actually go ahead and, do this for you, and they'll categorize all your spending. I think if you want to do that, you can, but I still think that you should go to your bank, have your teller print out 12 months of your bank statements and do it by hand so it becomes real. It's no different than when, if you grew up during the era of when a teacher would have you write 100 things wrong on the chalkboard of what you did wrong during detention. Okay. Once you do that, I want you to create an Excel spreadsheet and list out all of your expenses. So on the left-hand side of the Excel spreadsheet, I want you to put house or rent, car, student loan, school, private school, healthcare, whatever it is. On the right-hand side, I want you to put all your wants. I want you to put, eating out, spending money, walking around money, trip to Vegas, Raiders tickets, whatever, right? Sports tickets, concert tickets, whatever you want. So now what you have created is on your left-hand side, you've created what you need to have or your survival number. And on your right-hand side, what you want to spend. So let me give you an example of what mine looks like. Mine has my mortgage on it. I don't have my cars financed because I'm very conservative. If I can't buy it in cash, I don't buy it. If I can't pay it off, I won't buy it. So I have my mortgage on there. I have our grocery bills on there for the month, our budget. I have our gas bill on there for the month. I have PG&E on there. I have our kids' tuition on there. I have for their extracurricular activities. I have our medical on there. And I have a savings on there. Okay, so I want to save a certain amount every month. I have that on there because that's a need for me. Right? On the want side, I have landscaper, pool guy. I have housekeeper. Right? I have luxury items that I call luxury, right? Because I don't need them. They're wants. If I know that it pisses my wife off to clean the house, and I don't have the energy to do it, so I hired a housekeeper to keep her happy and to keep me from having to do it, and it cost me $350 a month for the 2 times they come out. That's a luxury item. Because if times got tough, I could get rid of that and I could clean the house myself, right? So now that you have an idea of this, my survival number every month is $5,363. I know it off the top of my head. I want you to take your survival number and I want you to multiply it by 6 months. If you have 6 months of your survival number in your checking savings account, rainy day money, just in case you fell off a ladder and broke your back or hurt yourself, God forbid you decided this career wasn't not fulfilling enough for you, so you quit. 6 months of survival number. And you're doing good. All right. Let's keep moving on. Once you have 6 months of survival number, I want you to look at your debt. Right now, there's a lot of debt. 78% of Americans are in more debt than they were pre-COVID. So think about that. Then there's also phantom debt with new sites that allow you to pay for Amazon or Best Buy or things that you normally would have paid for on a credit card over time. There's phantom debt that hasn't struck yet. So I want you to take all of your debts and any leftover money that you have, I want you to start chipping away at your debts before you start designing what your wants list should look like. Once you chipped away your debts and you are debt free and you still have 6 months of survival number, then you are solid. You're on solid footing. Now, if you want to be considered a baller, then increase the 6 months of time to 36 months of time. If you have 36 months of reserves, you have basically what they call FU money. You could fill in the blanks, right? You have get out of my face money. Okay. Now that you have 36 months of reserves, you want to get past that? I want you to start inching onto your needs list things that would normally have not even made it on your wants list. Let me give you an example. I want to add this year in 2024 a goal of depositing $5,000 a month with my financial advisor to invest for our future. So that's 60 grand a year that I want to contribute further in savings. I want to donate at least $10,000 in 2024 to a charity that actually means something to me, that's local. Okay. So when you have now saved up 36 months of reserves and you're considered a baller and you have no debt and you can basically manage all these funds, this is now time for you to start investing. You notice that I didn't put any age restriction on it because you could hit this at age 25 or 65 or 75. There's no savings and controlling your budget isn't ageist like we all think it is. Okay. Stop making the excuses today. Use black and white data in front of you to get ahead of the problem. Now, this last bit of this video that I'm going to wrap up in the next 60 seconds is for those that are watching this and going, yeah, right. It's easier said than done. Is it? Is it really that hard? Let me explain to you. Sometimes our ego gets in the way. Remember how I told you it was a blessing that I lost everything when I was younger? It is. I live in a gorgeous custom-built home. I drive my dream car. My wife drives her dream car. We're simple people. But if tomorrow I thought that, hey, I needed to make a lifestyle change, I could easily sell everything I had, okay, and downsize to a home like the home that I grew up in my whole life. Something less than 1,300 square feet and be totally happy because it's the heartbeats inside the home that make it a home, right? As long as I had my kids and my wife and my little Raiderette bulldog, I'm good, right? So if at any time you feel like this is hard for you, just pivot backwards. If you're living, like, let me give you an example. There was a customer I had the other day. They were like, man, my rent is $3,000 a month. My car is $500 a month. I barely have enough money to eat. Like not even eat out, just eat. Because I make $5,000, $6,000, $5,500 a month working for the state. I told her, I said, hey, why not just go get a roommate? I don't want to get a roommate. Okay, so you don't want to downsize your lifestyle? No. Then move to another state. Move somewhere else in this great state of ours, California, where things are super expensive. Keep your job that allows you to work remote. Fine, and don't sacrifice on house. Just go to a different area. She was like, wow, I never thought of that. So now she is moving. She's moving to a different area where she's going to get an upgraded home that she's renting. The rent's going to go down $700 a month. That's going to allow her to fast track paying off her car by 2 years. What is her life going to be like in 2 years from now? Probably a lot better than where it's at right now, at least financially. I hope this video is helpful to you. If you have any questions, you can leave a comment down below or you can reach out. I'd be more than happy to talk to you, go over this with you, and get you on the financial road to success that you want.